Alright guys, we're back today with a look at the Ruger SP101 revolver. I apologize for my messy desk. We're planning on taking you outside to the range for this review, but it decided to thunderstorm today, so here we are inside at my messy office desk with the camera taped to a ladder for a tripod, and here we go. Let's take a look at it anyway. Of course, this is the largest SP101 model that Ruger makes. It came out, I believe it was back in December of 2011, about 4 months ago. And man, this gun is sweet. It's got a 4.2 inch barrel, so if you're Canadian, it's legal for you. I imagine that's why they chose that barrel length. Of course, like all other 357 or 38 caliber SP101s, it's a 5-shot cylinder. Now, something that this gun has that a lot of SP101s do not have is this fiber optic front sight. A lot of people don't like that. They say it's hideous, it's ugly, and it is a pretty large front sight. I'll get you a close-up look at it there if the camera will focus. Maybe not. So far, I've liked the front sight quite a bit. Not as much as I thought I would as far as how bright it is. I've had fiber tube sights or fiber optic sights on several guns in the past. On a USP 40 caliber pistol I used to have, as well as on a shotgun I still have. Those fiber optic sights were infinitely brighter than this one is. Now, I wrote Ruger about that. I sent them an email and asked, if they could replace it or help me out on that, because honestly, to me, it just seems defective. In direct sunlight, it's not that bright. I've got a halogen light about 2 feet above this gun right now, and it's moderately bright. It's not even glowing all that bright relative to other fiber optic sights. So anyway, I sent Ruger an email asking what they could do, or if they'd be willing to send me a new one, and their only solution was for me to ship the entire gun back to them and they'd take a look at it. And the shipping would be at my expense. That's really not a solution. It's a $5 part, and they want me to ship them the entire handgun, and if you're familiar with shipping handguns, that's not like sticking it in a $5 flat rate box and off it goes. It's an expensive affair. So I'm not going to spend $50 to $70 to ship this gun back just for them to potentially say, yeah, that's how it's supposed to look. For the shipping price, I could just go out and buy a new front sight, which I probably will. We'll see. Other than that, this gun has been awesome. It is so much fun to shoot. I've only shot about 30 357 rounds through it, but I've shot about 600 rounds of 38 Special. And that's simply because I found a deal on 1,000 38 Special cases, and so that's what I started loading. So far, at that point, I hadn't found any 357 Magnum cases for sale for a decent price. Once fired or range pickups. That's what I usually buy to get started loading a caliber. So that's how I ended up mainly shooting 38s, which isn't a big deal. You'll want to clean it after you shoot a lot of 38s before shooting 357s, just because you get a ring of crud inside the cylinder where that case was a little shorter. Other than that, it's no problem. And this gun shoots awesome with 38s and 357s. Now, it's a lightweight gun. I've got the Ruger spec sheet pulled up on my laptop there, and they say it weighs 29.5 ounces, which is pretty light for a 357 Magnum revolver. But I haven't found it to be unpleasant to shoot. I've shot some very hot 357 mag loads through it, and yeah, you're shooting a 357, but it's not uncomfortable by any means. In fact, it's kind of fun, the snap that you get. The double action trigger on this gun is quite nice. It's smooth, it's light, it just feels really good. Now I helped that along a little bit by means of a Wolf spring kit. I replaced the mainspring and I replaced the hammer return spring. To do that requires detail stripping the action. So while I had it stripped, I took some polish. I wanted to use Flitz polish, but I couldn't find any of that anywhere around here. So what I ended up using was Mother's mag and aluminum polish, and it worked just as good. You just use a little bit at a time and just go slow. I used a Dremel with a felt wheel on it for the polishing. Now when you're polishing that action, you're not actually wanting to really change the shape or remove any metal. If you do that, you're going to have action problems with the gun. What you want to do is just smooth out any burrs or machining marks that are left and get it down to a mirror polish. Now the trigger pull was very good before I started doing anything, but now after having tuned it up a little bit, it's even better. This is one sweet shooting gun. Single action trigger pull it breaks like glass, and I don't have a trigger pull gauge, but it's really light. The rear sight on this gun is adjustable both in windage, left and right, and in elevation, up and down. You've got a screw on the side for windage and a screw on the top for elevation. Now a problem I had when I first started shooting this gun, and some research online showed me that quite a few other people have had this problem. This pin that holds the rear sight on, right there, that tends to drift out. After maybe 30 or 40 shots, I would find it hanging out 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch to one side or the other. It never came all the way out, so the sight never fell off because I caught it in time. But the fix for that was really simple. You probably know what Loctite is. It comes in blue and in red. You want the blue. And just a tiny little dot on that pin, push it back in, and you won't have any problems. And you can still easily get it out if you want to change that rear sight for any reason. Now let's look at the grips for a moment. These are, of course, the grips that Ruger has on most of their SP101 models. Some of their, I think the 2.25 inch barrel models have different grips available. But this wood insert, you can get different inserts, whatever you want. You can get stag or different types of wood, plastic, carbon fiber, whatever you want. You just pull that center screw out, pop the different grip plate in, if that's the kind of thing that you're into. Or you can take the entire grip off and replace it with something more cushioned. Now this does have a covered back strap, and it's fairly cushioned. It's comfortable to shoot. However, something I noticed, if you're going to be shooting a lot of 357 Magnum loads, this space right here can be a problem. On a lot of revolvers, the grip itself actually fills that space. This one does not. So when you grip the gun, your knuckle, or at least part of your finger, ends up right there against the trigger guard. And when you fire off a 357 Magnum round, it tends to bust your knuckle a little bit. And if that's a bother to you, I think Hogue and a couple other manufacturers make their rubber grips that actually fill in that space and keep your finger down here. So they're like 20 bucks. So if that's a problem, swap it out. They're a lot bigger, a lot more comfortable. Now some people like to conceal carry the smaller SP101s. I suppose you could do the same with this gun. Now, when you think SP101, don't think that this is a small gun in any way. Here's a size comparison for you. This is a Glock 22, a full-size frame, of course. Let's look at the size comparison. The SP101 is actually a little bit longer, and it's within 1/8 of an inch of being the same height. So if you're planning on carrying this, just consider it's going to be the size of a full-size Glock or any other full-size pistol. They're pretty much the same size. It may not be your concealed carry weapon of choice. And of course, the shape of a revolver, that can affect how easy it is to carry. You know, the lines of it, how the grip curves down, that's different on a revolver than on a semi-automatic of a similar size. And that can affect how it hits your side, if that's an issue. So if you can handle the length, you may like carrying this gun. It's certainly fun to shoot and would be a good choice. Now, as I said, I load my own ammo for this. 38 Special with lead semi-wad cutter bullets. These are, I think these came from Missouri Bullet Company. But anyway, back to these 38 Special lead semi-wad cutters. Let me see if I have written down what I was loading. I've got the CC written down, .43 CC. I'm set up to load 40 right now, or I'd throw a charge and tell you how much that was. But I don't have my records handy. They're fairly light loads though. Nothing too crazy, just for, you know, plinking, having fun. My wife absolutely loves this gun. Let me tell you, I've got a winner of a wife. She had never shot a gun before she married me, and she just took to it like a duck to water. She's an amazing shot, and this is one of her favorite guns, loaded with these 38 lead semi-wad cutter lightweight loads. She can outshoot a lot of people with those. But anyway, that's the SP101. I'll quickly roll in here a holster I have for it, made by Simply Rugged. You know what? I'm going to do a separate video on this because I'm going to talk for a while about it, and you probably might not want to hear that. But stay tuned, check back in a little while, and I'll have a video for this up as well. For now, see you later, be safe, have fun.